Hi guys, That Song Review Guy here, and as is tradition on this channel, this video is going to be my uh, reaction and review to last night's annual BRIT Awards. Last year I remember the BRIT Awards being a pretty overall disappointing award show, um, and this year was actually, in my opinion, a lot better. Um, the awards pretty much went the way, or the majority of them went the way that were predicted, but there were a couple of surprises. Um, First off, we opened up on a dancing segment of human Brit statues doing a bit of dancing to some drum beats, if I remember. Okay, opening, nothing much to comment on. And then the first act comes on, which is Coldplay doing Hymn for the Weekend. Pretty much like a lot of Coldplay's work. Lots of bright lights, lots of confetti. Overall, though, it wasn't a great performance. Um, I've seen Coldplay live, and I saw them at Glastonbury 3 years ago, I think it was, and I genuinely enjoyed their act. But Chris Martin, stop with the falsetto, man. It sounded so bad. Like, his voice was cracking, it was out of tune, and I like the song. It's probably one of the better ones on their last album. But overall, I thought the performance was pretty below average. First award of the night, British female solo artist, won by Adele, as expected. No complaints there. And then we moved on to Justin Bieber's performance of first half was Love Yourself and the second half was Sorry. The first, Love Yourself, accompanied by James Bay on guitar. A little campfire set, which built up in the second half. I actually thought it was a good performance, to be honest. I like the song. It was one of my honourable mentions for best hit songs of 2015, and I've nothing to complain about. Sorry, on the other hand, the staging was good. It was the set just basically burst out into flames, and there was some dancers there, which I think pretty much entail with the music video or what there is of it. I thought that in this part of the performance, I thought he sounded very nervous, and I'm gonna be honest, he was off key a fair few times. You could tell by the backing track when he was singing along to it. You could tell his voice was off. I thought it was an all right performance. Overall, not brilliant, but definitely not the worst one. Next, um, award was the best British male solo artist, won by James Bay. Um, Understandable. I, did, I kind of predicted it as well. I'm kind of actually a bit of me was kind of surprised that Calvin Harris didn't win, because he's sort of the person that always seems to uh, collect the award. He's that name that's among a pool of talent, and it's just him, and he's not good, and he always ends up winning these kind of awards. One thing I noticed is that the person presenting this award was Kylie Minogue, and I'm not exactly one to judge somebody's fashion sense, but it looked like that she was wearing some neck curtains slash wedding dress at the back. And the only reason I could think that this happened was because she is never going to wear a wedding dress in her life, so this was probably the one and only opportunity to wear something that even resembled a dress. International Group was up next, and it was won by Tame Impala, beating the act that should have won, Alabama Shakes. I've got to be honest, I listened to Currents last year, and I was much like a fair handful of album critics on YouTube. I thought it was a lot of buzz and a lot of hype and a lot of praise for something that overall is just a good album. That's all it is. It's just good. It's not great. It's not exceptional. It's just good. Anyway, and then we move on to Jess Glynn, who did a mashup of Ain't Got Far to Go, Don't Be So Hard on Yourself, and Hold My Hand. Um, excuse me. I thought it was a good performance. I thought there were a few sketchy bits here and there. I liked Ain't Got Far to Go. I kind of wish that she'd have just done that song on its own. But hey ho. And it got to about this part of the show where you realise that the presenting by the hosts Ant and Dec was absolutely fucking awful. It was absolutely horrendous. They presented it last year and they were not good at all. And I don't understand why they were chosen again to present the award show. They got no audience reactions, dead on every single joke, wasn't funny, and it just got to the point where you wanted to burn your ears off. Admittedly, there was two kind of moments in there which caused a sort of like a smirk and a sort of a little under your breath chuckle. One where they were accompanied by I don't know. Was this a cross-dressing man? Was it? It was like a scantily clad person in like a see-through body stocking, but they had like black pads covering like the chest and the genital areas. It was mildly amusing. And then a little later on down, there was a costume change where Dec changed into a white suit and Ant was wearing like this huge sort of bouffant purple dress, which was kind of amusing, and I admit it did get a chuckle, but that's about it. All I'll say is it's a good thing that this is going to be their last Brits because, oh god, I would not enjoy to see them again next year. The next and also I actually have to point this out. It got to a point where the presenting was so bad that when they were in with the crowd or talking to some of the guests, it was just watching some of the people in the background just doing stupid shit, and it was by far more funny and more entertaining than these two were. The amount of time they put into coming up with their jokes, and they just fell flat. Best British Single Award went to Hello by Adele, and considering their competition, it was only really that song and perhaps two others that I would have been happy to see go away with the award, and that would have been Hold Back the River by James Bay and probably King by Years and Years. All the rest I could take or leave. A lot of the time leave, especially when Up by Ollie Murs is up there. Yeah. Then we went to the Best British Group, which uh, pissed off. Coldplay won, and you know what? I don't mind Coldplay. I honestly don't. But went up against. I mean, It was kind of surprising considering that One Direction was nominated, and this was an award that I thought they're gonna take this. One day are gonna absolutely take it. No point in going on. But no, Coldplay won. Uh, a shame. I kind of wished, but I would actually have liked to have seen Foles take it, only because they've not really had much in the way of uh, widespread um, exposure, but can't be beggars can't be choosers. And also, again, it was at this point where every single person who went on to collect their award, apart from Adele, always got like 2 seconds in, and they were like, which way are we looking? Are we looking the right way? Does it fucking matter? No. Hold Back the River by James Bay was the next performance. Fantastic performance. If only offset by the background animation on the huge Titantron, which was out of sync with the performance. I don't know whether or not I don't know if someone was a bit lazy on the button, or if they just sort of like rushed the performance a little bit. But there you go. International male solo artist, as expected, Justin Bieber won. I'm not surprised. He, not only because it's Justin Bieber, but because of the last couple of months he's has been pretty damn good. Beat Kendrick Lamar. Uh, a part of me expected that, to be honest, because you know, when you're up against like mainstream artists like that, well, artists that are more pushed on radio than Kendrick, then it's to be expected. Kind of also surprised that the Weeknd didn't win, because new guy, new act. Part of me would have been happy to have seen him win. When it was announced that JB had won, they shot to Father John Misty, who was so enthralled and so happy that JB won that his face was like down on in his phone, which was kind of amusing. And also have to highlight this here: the presenters of this award were Major Lazer, and I have to ask, do we need three people to present one award? It was like, one of them said, "All right, how you doing?" The other one said, "And the nominees are," and then the third one said, "And the winner is." Purpose. Anyway, Rihanna performed next with a mashup of Consideration and Work. During this Caesar-inducing performance, one thing you couldn't help but notice was that the sound on this performance was absolutely atrocious. Not only that, but I could not fucking understand a single word that Adele was saying. And taking into consideration that these are two songs on an album that I listened to no more than about 2 weeks ago, even I was just like, this is bad. She was slurring more than singing, and God, she was heavily relying on the backing track. It was kind of a saving grace to see Drake come on set. I don't think anybody expected Drake to come on. I was kind of surprised as anyone, and you know what? He did well, so, well done, Rihanna. You were saved by Drake, of all people. Best British Breakthrough Act was awarded to Catfish and the Bottlemen, which is actually another big surprise. Not that they didn't deserve it, they've got a good following. They do have a very tight-knit fan base, but considering their opponents were James Bay, Jess Glynn, Wolf Alice, and years, they would probably have been the last act that I'd have expected to win this award. It was voted for by the public, and this was the one award that was voted by the public leading up to the Brits. There was another one that was the best British music video, which was voted for on Twitter. And much like last year, I'm just going to get this one over and done with. Much like last year, there's a One Direction video up on there, and guess which one was the winner? That's right, 1D. They presented the next award was the Global Success Award, which unsurprisingly was given to Adele. This was the first time actually where they muted some of the speech because she was dropping F-bombs like a motherfucker, and one slipped away, and then of course they had to apologise for it, because all of a sudden, well, you hear one F-bomb and you got 1,000 fucking people who've got no lives just have to complain about it because they drop an F-bomb and that's it, society's done. Little Mix performed next with Black Magic. It was good staging. I really liked it. It was sort of like a voodoo tribal sort of thing, and I thought that the performance and the staging and the dancers were good. I personally can't stand the song. I'm not into the group at all. I admit they're not for me, so that was that. This award, the next award, was the International Female Solo Artist. This one probably shocked me the most, because the best artist on in that category by far won. And considering that Ariana Grande, Courtney Barnett, Lana Del Rey, and Meghan Trainor were also nominated, you could imagine my surprise when they announced that Bjork was the winner. I was fucking jumping for joy. I nothing. I love Courtney Barnett, and I would have liked to have seen her win it. Not that I wouldn't have liked to see Bjork win it, but I didn't expect her to win the award. But Courtney Barnett had a very impressive debut last year, and I would have been fine with her taking it. I also kind of expected Lana Del Rey, only because a couple of years ago she won it twice in a row. But no, Bjork won. I'm more than happy about it. And then there was the honouring of David Bowie. They said leading up to the Brits that they were going to do some sort of honours thing. I thought it was going to be sort of like a little video montage, but no, they had Annie Lennox come on and give a long winding speech where she paused about every 4 words and just did that sharp intake of breath to try and exude some passion out of us. But it was like, just get through the speech. Um, they he was actually recognised by being given the British Icon Award, which was accepted by Gary Oldman, and his speech lasted as long, if not longer, than Annie Lennox's. I can't remember much of what he said. All I know is that I left halfway through to, excuse me, clean my teeth and go to the toilet. uh, just to amuse myself. But then I came back and I watched it, and they were doing a little mash-up instrumentation of a lot of Bowie songs, and then they brought Lorde on to do Life on Mars. This was actually good, and it's good to see Lorde back. She hasn't been around for a couple years, and I say it's very good to see her back. Hopefully, she'll do something soon. Um, we best British Video Award. I've already talked about that. The Weekend performed was the penultimate act, performing The Hills, which was all right. He cut the second verse out. It's an okay performance, but I would have liked to have. I think it would have been better if he'd have performed something a bit more upbeat. He should have done "Can't Feel My Face" or maybe. I think "In the Night" is his next single release. If not, he's dropped it already. So I don't know why he didn't do that song. But we got to the final award, the British Album of the Year, and as expected, Adele won it. She was up against some good competition. Coldplay, Head Full of Dreams, which was an alright album. Much like How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful by Florence and the Machine, which I thought was alright, but I preferred her previous 2 albums. Then you got Chaos and the Calm by James Bay, which I should have liked a lot more than I did. I still think that there's some tempering to do with the guy. And if I was going by which album I liked the most, then In Colour by Jamie XX would have been my choice, because out of all the 5 albums there, for me that was my favourite album of the 5. But I think we kind of expected Adele to win it. I'm not disappointed, deserved. Like it is a good album. Of course, there are some misses there, but overall, it's it was a good comeback album. Speaking of Adele, she was the last performer of the night doing When We Were Young, and unsurprisingly, it was the best performance of the night. It was absolutely fucking stunning performance. And it's always going to be an incredible performance whenever Adele sings. And she didn't get cut off during any of her speeches or her performance at all, which stunned. But there we go. That was the Brit Awards. Best performance of the night, Adele, hands down. Worst one, I'd give it to Rihanna. Compared to last year, I thought this Brit Awards was a success, all things considered. The performances, for the most part, were good. The right winners won. A few surprises, some expected results, and the presenting by and large was shit. But then again, I can't remember one time where Ant and Dec have ever presented the Brit Awards well. And like I said, good thing that this is their last one, because I can't put up with them again next year. It was also weird because when they were talking to the crowd, they bumped into Alan Carr, who's a British comedian, and Simon Pegg from Shaun of the Dead and the rebooted Star Trek series. And within just 10 seconds of talking to them, Alan and Simon, their responses, they garnered the biggest laugh out of the entire audience. They why wasn't I tell you what, why not? I'm not a big fan of Alan Carr's chat show. It can get a bit grating sometimes, but why didn't he present it? I mean, I think he'd have been fucking hilarious presenting the awards. uh who would that's got to be thinking, who would I have present next year? Well, it's not going to be Ant and Dec. I thought James Corden presented perfectly in the 4 times he did it, but I think because he's done it so many times, I don't think that they'd have him back. I could perhaps see Dermot O'Leary doing it, because of course he's done the X Factor, he's done the National Television Awards, but I think he needs someone who's a bit more of a natural comedian. If I could give Alan Carr the work. Um, what else? No, not Graham Norton. Nothing against Graham Norton. I like Graham Norton, but he's BBC. And also Stephen Fry's BBC as well. And he does the BAFTAs. He does the posh, BAFTA posh awards ceremonies. Um, no. So I'll probably stop recording and I'll probably think of something. Oh yeah, they'd be a good presenter. But anyway, what did you guys think of the Brit Awards? Do you think it was better than last year's? What was your favourite performances? And also, who do you think should present it next year? Be nice to hear your opinions. And thank you for watching. And until the Brit Awards next year, and until my next video, I'm that song review guy. And take care.